Hello there. Thank you for stopping by. This month, thought I'd switch gears. And by switching gears, I mean punch coordinates into the nav computer, crank up the Epstein drive, and warp through some gates and wormholes. 13 to be exact. That's right, we're going to be taking a look at shows that are out of this world. Literally. The theme is simple. These sci-fi shows take place, at least in part, not on Earth. Each on this list is a personal favorite, pulled from what I am sure is a very incomplete list of 82 explorations. Cumulatively, though, we are looking at over 60 years of TV. Aware that, like me, many of y'all are passionate about these shows, and you might not necessarily agree with their placement. I see ya. Frel, I shuffled many of these multiple times while assembling this list. Feel free to log your personal faves in the comments. Would love to hear from ya. Now, are you all ready to starburst into the countdown? Engage.
Now then, let the Symphony of Death begin!
This month's list blasts off with a 1-year deadline to save the human race. No pressure! Starblazers Space Battleship Yamamoto. A factoid about myself. I am a night owl by nature. Have been since I remember. I do not voluntarily do early mornings. Never have. The exception was getting up to catch Starblazers. It was on at the crack, 6 or 6:30 a.m. Starblazers was one of the first English translated anime shows. It originally aired from 1979 to 1984. The first season involves the crew of the Yamamoto, Argo in the American version, leaving an irradiated Earth to retrieve the Cosmo DNA, which will reverse the effects. They have a year before the Earth no longer could be revived. Trouble is, the Gamilons, who poisoned the Earth, ain't too cool with us retrieving the planet-saving doohickey from the planet Iskandar. The second season arc, The Comet Empire, introduces a new enemy, Prince Zodar. Zodar, up to his conquest antics, aims his sights on Earth. He is joined by a revenge-seeking Gamilon, Deathlock, bitter from the events of the first season. The standout of this show is the season-long story arcs mixed with beyond epic space battles. It flawlessly filled that itch left by the Star Wars movie. Starblazers Space Battleship Yamamoto, $21.99, and $22.02 charges up the Wave Motion Gun on Crunchyroll.
Step up to red alert.
Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
Beware cats with hairspray cans. You'll get sprayed. Number 12, Red Dwarf. If you're a fan of quirky British humor and sci-fi, then this is your show. Full stop. Red Dwarf should be renamed Red Phoenix because it keeps getting revived. It originally ran from 1988 to 1993, then had a couple seasons from 1997 to 1999, then one in 2009, again in 2016, with a movie in 2020, and another season or movie might cruise in this year or next. This PBS Discovery centers around Lister, a slacker so extreme he makes other slackers look productive, who reluctantly awakes from a 3 million year cryo to discover he's the last human. To give him company, Holly, Red Dwarf's Peppy AI, recreates a hologram of Lister's bunkmate, Rimmer, an overachiever who sucks at overachieving. The two soon discover Cat, the self-proclaimed master of suave, and descendant of the pregnant cat Lister, smuggled on board the Red Dwarf 3 million years prior. To complete this merry band of misfits is Crichton, an android who means well, E for effort, Together, they're stuck on the Red Dwarf, looking for something, to look for, really. This show full-on had me when Cat, running around the ship with a hairspray can, claiming everything in sight as his. This is mine. Oh, and this is mine. Red Dwarf takes a ride in the Space Bug on BritBox.
You ready to make history? Always, my friend.
Hi, Bob. Number 11 for All Mankind. Showrunner Ronald D. Moore created a real gem with this show. Shocking, I know. It's not like he has the best track record with TV shows. For All Mankind is an alternate history show which premiered in 2019 with 4 seasons successfully executed. Each season takes place at least a decade after the previous. Premise is, what if instead of an arms race, there was a space race with the Russians? It kicks off in the late 1960s with the Russians being the first to land on the moon, and the US setting a goal to build a permanent base on the moon. The second season takes place in 1983, focusing on the height of the Cold War. The third, in 1992, which shifts its sights to Mars, introduces private enterprise into the space exploration equation and the race to be the first to Mars. The winner isn't who you think. And the fourth season takes place in 2003, where an asteroid full of iridium, a precious fuel source, threatens the relevance of the Mars colony itself. Though the series features many characters, all 4 seasons show the lives, careers, and tragic events surrounding Ed Baldwin, a hotshot astronaut, Daniel Poole, a more quote-unquote grounded astronaut, and Margot Madison, NASA head who sold secrets to the Soviets. This hard science fiction show pulls you in by seamlessly blending emotionally charged drama, edge of your seat action, and ruthless political intrigue. For All Mankind teaches us how to steal an asteroid on Apple TV+.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
The 10th entry avoids extermination in the most precarious of times, Doctor Who. I honestly cannot remember when timey-wimey adventures were not part of my life. Classic Doctor Who was a constant staple on PBS throughout my childhood. Of the 7 Doctors conjuring up some great magic with their sonic screwdrivers, the scarf-wearing Tom Baker's 4th Doctor was the most memorable. After 1987, Doctor Who seemed forever lost in the time vortex. Until 2005's Eccleston's 9th Doctor revitalized the franchise. His short one-season run regenerated into Tennant's 10th and Smith's 11th Doctors. These initial Doctors solidified the current 20-year and still going run of the modern era of Doctor Who, followed by Capaldi, Whittaker, the first female Doctor, Tennant again, and the 15th Doctor, Gatwa, the first Black Doctor. Reinventing, or should I say regenerating, itself is built into the show's DNA. Modern Doctor Who took villains, Daleks, Cybermen, introduced in the first Doctor's 1963 run, and gave us fresh, exciting adventures over 60 years later. It also created the terrifying Weeping Angels, the beautiful Ood, and the time-traveling swashbuckler River, which in itself is a brilliant multi-season, multi-doctor storyline. You're him, but you're not my doctor. At the moment, the TARDIS is trapped between time streamers, with only the 14th and 15th Doctors available on Disney+. Just keep your ears open for that familiar whir. The Doctor is certain to regenerate some time soon.
Where the hell are we? Several billion light years from home.
Number 9 is trapped on a ship heading the wrong way. Stargate Universe. When I started this project, it became apparent that franchise shows would dominate this list. What I set out to do here was highlight as many shows as possible. To do this, I opted to pick my favorite of the franchise shows to represent the group. The first of these is Stargate Universe. It ran 2 seasons from 2009 to 2011 before its cancellation. SGU is also the third of 4 shows set in the Stargate universe. Its very premise made me salivate in anticipation. To escape a sudden attack, a group of civilians and military personnel go through the Stargate to an unknown destination. Turns out they ended up on the Destiny, a ship millions of years old in a different galaxy billions of light years away. Once the gate closed, they couldn't dial back to Earth. Not enough power. To add to an already bad day, Destiny is heading in the wrong direction, away from Earth. What SGU delivered was a serialized story with an eclectic troupe of characters in a constantly devolving situation. You have the civilian versus military dynamic. There are characters who are obviously good, like Eli and Chloe, and ones who are morally gray, like Dr. Nicholas Rush. All the characters are flawed and completely unprepared for their circumstance. Even Destiny itself is a ship very likely at the end of its life cycle. Stargate Universe charges up with the Stars Corona on Prime Video.
Also, I can kill you with my brain.
Number 8 aims to complete the job and get paid. Firefly. The Fox network done this show wrong. In the 2002-3 TV season, fans witnessed firsthand the sudden, yet inevitable cancellation of Firefly. Even with episodes aired out of order, we knew the show was special. Shortly after being canceled, the season box set was released, complete with 3 previously unaired episodes. The last one, Objects in Space, is mind-blowingly good, and one of my all-time favorite episodes of any TV show. This yarn is named after the Firefly-class starship. I reckon they classified it that way because it lights up when mooning ya. It picks up in the year 2517 and captained by browncoat Malcolm Reynolds, who's bitter about being on the losing end of the Civil War. So begrudged, he named his ship Serenity after the losing battle of said war. His first mate, Zoe, also a veteran, seems keen on their pilot Walsh, cause she got hitched to the goofball. Their strongman Jane is always scheming, not too smart-like, and is styling hats. Mal rents one of Serenity's shuttles to Honora, a companion whose social stature makes Mal's operation legit. They wrangle themselves a diamond of a mechanic, Kaylee, who glows at the ball. For show that they ain't just smuggling, they give patches to wayfaring folk, like the wise, but certainly not typical, Shepherd Book. Then there's Dr. Simon and his secret cargo. That cargo turns out to be his little sister River, who was experimented on by the winners of the war, the Alliance. Thing is, the Alliance are mighty upset that they lost their investment. Mal, however, ain't against aiming Serenity's glowing rear in their direction out of spite. Just gotta make sure that they have enough jobs so they don't run out of gas. Oops. Firefly does a par-ass job of steering clear of Cannibal Reavers on Disney+.
Oh, you're so stolid. You weren't like that before the beard.
Resistance is futile. Number 7, Star Trek, The Next Generation. For my Star Trek representation, going with the show which made me love Star Trek. Because of The Next Generation's success, we have over 8 spin-off shows, with a 9th on its way. Hell, before it premiered in 1987, I remember the anticipation of The Next Generation. Hanging in our high school library being shocked that there's a Klingon on the bridge? And an android, hoping he's more like Bishop than Ash. In a way, we got both over the years. The first episode, Encounter at Farpoint, introduced us to the crew who would be our companions on this 7-year voyage, and Q, who's a real We did get some spectacularly great episodes over its 7-year run. The show also weaved in subtle continuity, developing the characters as the seasons progressed. Like Picard occasionally found playing the flute after my all-time favorite episode, The Inner Light. It delved into the lore established during the original series, like the Romulans. Love the Romulans. And introduced us to more new aliens than you can shake a phaser at, including the Borg. Thanks to Q. What a real Even the name Borg sounds ominous. The series finale, All Good Things, was bittersweet. The two-parter were amongst those great episodes. This time-jumping fable weaved in most of the best elements of Next Generation's 7-year run. Star Trek: The Next Generation shows us the many, many, many reasons Q is a dick on Paramount+.
The coming generations will need the knowledge to build upon, a foundation.
The sixth entry has survived 3 crises and still going strong, Foundation. If you're looking for a show that matches the scale and scope of something like Dune, then this is the show for you. Foundation premiered in 2021 and recently completed its 3rd season. At its foundation, it revolves around genius mathematician Harry Seldon, who created a psychohistory formula that predicts the social shifts on a galactic scale. He predicts the fall of the Cleon dynasty, long-running galactic empirical rulers who are clones of the original emperor, and a dark age for humanity which will last tens of millennia. Harry creates the foundation to drastically reduce the recovery period to just a few thousand years. The ruling emperor, known as Brother Day, did not take too kindly to the fact that they're going to lose their rule, so he exiles Harry and his prodigy Gale to a planet at the far edge of the Empire. Each season centers around a crisis the Foundation must overcome to continue preserving humanity's knowledge. Though each season takes place over a century from the previous, Gale has been a central character in all, surviving by cryosleep. The writing in this show is brilliant. We'll have you guessing about what happens next and take a sharp breath in surprise at the plot twist. Hell, even the opening credits tell a story over each season. The effects are gorgeous. The characters are fleshed out, which is amazing considering most of the cast is introduced at the beginning of each season, including the 3 Cleons, Brother Dawn, Day, and Dusk, who, though portrayed by the same actors, are different characters. Foundation lowers its null field on Apple TV+.
All this has happened before, and all of it will happen again.
Number 5 struggles with the woes of herding a fleet of starships. 2003's Battlestar Galactica. Though Season 1 technically premiered in 2005, it was preceded by 2003's Battlestar Galactica miniseries. Those events were pretty integral in setting the stage and initial scenario for the ongoing series. I will admit, as excited as I was for the ongoing TV series, I was trepidatious on how they would follow up to such a spectacularly executed miniseries. Then 33 dropped. Not only was my wee mind blown, it also instantly became another of my all-time favorite TV episodes. On top of giving us viewers one of the most intense stories ever, the showrunners boldly declared it will not only match the production quality of the miniseries, it will exceed it. Which it did until its conclusion in 2009. You know that Portlandia episode where Fred and Carrie start watching this show and literally get so sucked in they stop going to work and lose their jobs? That is the effect Battlestar Galactica has on you. It is phenomenal in its execution. Looking back at all the storylines, the Pegasus arc, you knew it was going to go south. But how it went south is pure Battlestar Galactica, and the Skin Job Cylon mystery are two of the many standouts. All the characters developed in organic ways, product of the experiences they endured. Many making choices which had dire consequences later. A near perfect exploration of what it is to be human. The special effects were spectacular, the action heart-wrenchingly intense. This show did not shy away from putting characters in lose-lose moral dilemmas. Very few shows can touch the intensity this one pulled off weekly for 5 years. So say we all. One would think Battlestar Galactica is on Peacock. However, it is one of the growing number of great shows unavailable to stream without purchase. Fingers crossed the Resurrection ship soon receives this show's download.
Show me the one. Safety deemed such destruction.
The fourth entry in this countdown has spoken. Star Wars: The Mandalorian. Opting to represent the Star Wars franchise with The Mandalorian. Its 3 seasons ran from 2019 to 2023, and likely would have had a fourth if it wasn't going to be a movie. The show, especially the first season, captured the essence of what makes Star Wars great. Story follows a Mandalorian bounty hunter, Din Djarin, who takes a job to retrieve a package. That package turns out to be the child, known as Baby Yoda, real name Grogu. Despite his reputation, Din opts to not deliver Grogu to the Imperial remnants who hired him, and starts a quest to deliver the quote-unquote young Jedi to his kind. This lone wolf and cub duo develop a bond with one another while navigating the treacherous outer rim of the galaxy. This series has some of the best one-liners, most of which are from the secondary characters, and explores Grogu's unique taste in food. The second season also gave us a surprise appearance from Luke Skywalker himself. It was the first of 6 live-action Star Wars shows, including The Book of Boba Fett, which was fantastic, so the internet and I will have to agree to disagree on that. And Ahsoka, second season finally coming next year. Star Wars: The Mandalorian ignores the no disintegrations rule on Disney+.
Someday I think you and I are going to end up bloody.
I'm free right now.
Number 3, remembers the can't. The Expanse. Hard to believe this show has been canceled twice. It ran from 2015 to 2018 on SciFi, then from 2019 to 2022 on Prime Video. Mark my words, there will also be a third round of 3 seasons at some point in the future. It is not some proto-molecule delusion. It is because of the books. The Expanse book series, written by duo James A. Corey, had 9 volumes, the first 6 of which were covered in the first 6 seasons of the show. There is a 20-year time gap between books 6 and 7. Yes, see? There is reason to my madness, and madness to my reason. And those books are just as wild, if not more insane, than what we've seen so far. But I digress. The first 6 seasons follow the crew of the Rocinante, a salvaged Martian warship, who unwittingly get embroiled in a conspiracy to hide the existence of the protomolecule, an alien substance that turns out to be a technology, which eventually leads to the opening of the ring space, a vast network of wormhole gateways to thousands of habitable planets. Prior to the gates, our solar system was mostly colonized, with 3 major factions at odds with one another: Earth, Mars, and the Belters. The ring space not only opens the possibility of constant colonization, but irreversibly shifts the balance of our solar system's political dynamic. Who gets to control the ring space? Center to all these events, whether they want to be or not, are Holden, a good guy to a fault, Naomi, a builder trying to escape her past, Amos, he is that guy, and Alex Kamel, East Indian cowboy hotshot pilot. The crew later picks up Bobby, an AWOL Martian Marine, and Clarissa, who at one point wanted Holden dead. Now that was an interesting reunion. The show gave us a very faithful adaptation of the books, delivering one of the most intense, hard sci-fi thrillers I've ever had the pleasure of viewing and reading. The Expanse rains down asteroids on Prime Video.
No one here is exactly what he appears.
The pre-ultimate show will have you afraid of shadows. Babylon 5. Creator J. Michael Straczynski not only gave us a great sci-fi show, he threw down a visual novel. The first season premiered in 1994 following a very successful proof of concept, so to say, TV movie 1993's Babylon 5: The Gathering. The series ran through 1998, where they utilized each of the 22 episode seasons to build this amazing world. Babylon 5 is a 5-mile-long space station meant to be neutral ground for the various alien races to coexist and resolve differences diplomatically. The show takes place a decade after the Earth-Minbari War, which Earth was on the cusp of annihilation before the Minbari suddenly and unconditionally surrendered. Whew! Dodged that bullet. The first season saw Babylon 5 commanded by Jeffrey Sinclair, then abruptly replaced by John Starkiller Sheridan in the second. Nicknamed for his destruction of a Minbari warship, the one major victory Earth had in the war. Outside this change, other characters like Lieutenant Commander Enova, Dr. Franklin, and Security Chief Garibaldi remained central figures for all 5 seasons. In addition to the crew, we're also introduced to many of the Babylon 5 diplomats. There's Dylan from Minbari, the mysterious Kosh from Vorlon, Jakar from Narn, whose race just won independence from the Centauri. Their ambassador is Lando. Subtly, you get to know each character and don't realize how intimately until a major event occurs involving them. I am sure I was not the only one sitting, jaw open, as the Centauri were bombing the Narn. Throughout the initial seasons, our characters slowly learn about the growing threat of the Shadows. That Shadow War storyline concluded in the 4th season. One would think the series would slow down at this point. Nope. Those seeds they've been planting with character development throughout the previous seasons grew into a riveting political intrigue where the personal stakes of our characters were much higher. The series produced some of their best story arcs in that last season and a half. The jump gates to Babylon 5 are open on HBO Max.
My name is John Crichton, an astronaut.
For my fave out of this world show, Crackers Don't Matter, Farscape. My friend Liz described Farscape as the greatest show to ever light up my TV. Couldn't agree more. It ran from 1999 to 2003, with a wrap-up miniseries, The Peacekeeper Wars, in 2004. This was a result of a passionate fan revival campaign. Barebo's premise, John Crichton, astronaut, is flung through a wormhole to a distant part of the galaxy where he meets Dargo, a tentacled Luxon warrior, Zan, a blue-skinned Delvian priestess, and Rigel, a deposed Hynerian monarch with combustible flatulence. They are prisoners on a living ship, Moya, think interstellar whale, who is maintained by the multi-armed pilot, who's literally fused to his station. During their escape, Moya's starburst inadvertently brings Peacekeeper, Interstellar Police, Aaron Sun with them. This show also has one of the greatest antagonists ever, Scorpius, a half-Sebacean, human-like, half-Scaran, a menacing reptilian species scientist who takes great interest in John Crichton's wormhole knowledge. We learn firsthand you don't want to catch Scorpius's interest. Initially, Moya's crew don't trust, much less like one another. As the first season progresses, they grow into a found family, taking on strays like Chiana, a gray-skinned Nambari, who is also an escaped prisoner. By the end of the fourth season, they are a tight, efficient unit who literally walk into the quote-unquote lion's den and face off against the Scarans on their home turf. Well, except for Raijo on the trust front. That Hynerian always be scheming. Speaking of characters, the driving force behind Farscape is the Jim Henson Company. Yes, a couple of the characters are Muppets. However, you forget Pilot and Raijo are practically animated by the end of their first scene. Their expressions and body language are on par, sometimes even better, than their human counterparts. Farscape is insane. I don't mean in an insanely good way, which it is. I mean in the sense that many of the stories and characters have flown over the cuckoo's nest in a very good way. The last season in particular had some bonkers episodes. Of all the TV shows out there, including sci-fi, fantasy, and any other drama, no other show has come close to the creativity, ability to switch genre styles, sometimes at a drop of a hat, experimentation, character growth, and entertainment factor as this one. Farscape truly is the greatest show to light up my TV. Farscape has a comfy Aurora chair for you on Peacock. And that's a wrap. Really appreciate y'all kicking it with me during my total geek out. Hope y'all discovered or were reminded of some truly stellar treasures. No, I had a frelling great time revisiting these shows. Help me get my ship out of the junkyard and grow my fleet by subscribing. Leaving a like makes my day and is always appreciated. Don't know about you, but pretty frackin' upset Doctor Who and Battlestar Galactica aren't available to stream right now. Gonna be writing the BBC and Peacock to let them know just how plain dumb it is to disappear these great shows. Feel free to leave a comment with your take on this particular streamer behavior. Next month is Halloween, just saying. Listing the September TV show top picks and honorable mentions in the credits. Cheers!
Mm-hmm.